Have you ever thought about writing a book? My name is Bradley Stamper, and I want to write a novel. For as long as I remember, I have always wanted to be a storyteller. Whether it's comics, D&D, movies, screenplays, etc. I've always loved the writing process, but I've never written a novel. Not for lack of trying. I have tried multiple times to start. I love to read books, but I've never successfully finished one until now. This channel is going to be dedicated to the progress of my manuscript. Think of it like a devlog. That's where developers make progress updates about their games, but it's me making progress updates about my book. Whether you're an aspiring writer, a reader, or just interested in the novel process, this is the place for you. This is Booklog number 0. Today, we'll just be discussing the plan and schedule of my book, but before we get into that, what am I writing? This is a novel idea I've been developing for the better half of a year, called The Empath of Castle Norhall. It's a low fantasy historical romance set in Regency England, and it follows two protagonists, Lorelei and Jocelyn. Jocelyn is heir to the Earl of Norhall, and after returning from the Napoleonic War, he's developed severe PTSD and survivor's guilt. And he's beginning to question the place and use of high society and, well, the rest of society. In comes Lorelei. She's a commoner and has spent the majority of her life in servitude. She works as a lady's maid to a small noble house, but what sets her apart is her empathy. This isn't a character trait, this is a fantastical ability. And it's an ability she uses on herself to dull her emotions, turning her into the perfect servant. The Norhall family find her while searching for ways to, quote, cure their son, and hire her to work as his personal attendant. The rest of the story follows Jocelyn and Lorelei as they learn to reconcile their differences and accept help from others. I'm really excited about this premise, and I have the beginning planned out great, I have the ending planned out great. It's just the middle where I'm kind of lost right now, and I think it's because of one problem. I don't know anything about the Regency era. Yes, I'm immediately breaking one of the biggest rules of writing, which is to write what you know, but it's for a good reason. This story relies on two key features to work, one of which being the great house and high society structure found in Regency and Victorian England, and the second is there being a war just prior to the beginning of the story. With that in mind, I can either set the world in historical England or in a fantasy setting. While I love to world build and make up fantastical settings, it's just not necessary for this story. It doesn't add anything of value. The only fantastical element of the story should be Lorelei's abilities. Everything else is gonna detract from that. Now, as far as I'm aware, the only two periods of time that work in the real world would be right after the Napoleonic Wars or right after World War I. If you know of any other wars that were happening in England around this period of time, let me know in the comments, I'd love to hear it. But when it comes to these two wars, I think it has to be set after the Napoleonic War. There's a couple things that were happening then that tie into the story that I can't tell you yet, for spoilers, but trust me, it's really good. So what can you expect to see next week? For the rest of May, I will be researching and outlining. So in the next video, expect to see the results of that research and probably some tidbits from the outline. Then from June to October will be the writing process. Usually romance novels run about 70,000 to 90,000 words. So if I write about 15,000 words a month, that's like 500 words a day. That'll be 75,000 words by the end of October. I feel like that's a pretty good estimate for how long my book is going to be, but we'll see how it pans out. And I'll be tracking my progress with these. Each paperclip represents 1,000 words. So every 1,000 words I'll write, I'll move it from the paperclips left jar to the paperclips done jar. My goal is to finish this book by the end of the year, which means I'll have 2 months in November and December to finish revising my book before I can publish it starting in 2026. This might be ambitious, I don't know. I don't know how long it takes to revise a book. I've never written a book, so we're gonna find out. Also, let me know what you guys want to see in the next video. I'm obviously going to have a lot of information about the research I'm doing into my book. I could also talk about the books and guides I'm using to help outline my novel, or I could just give you more information about the novel if you want to hear more details. But that's it from me. Make sure to subscribe so that you're notified about the next update, and if it's already out, it should be somewhere on the screen here. See you there.